We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and now our World Broadcasting Tag Team Champions of the World, and our Cruiserweight Champion.
I'm Ethan.
I'm James.
I'm Rob.
And this is episode 149 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. We have Rob over here dying. He's dying. Hopefully he'll make it through the show. If not, he'll have to be future endeavored, like about another 14 individuals that were future endeavored last week. And don't worry, you're going to hear me talk all about it in just a matter of moments.
I've been waiting all week for this.
Absolutely. But first, let's get down to some business. You can follow me individually on Twitter at EthanMB95. You can follow James on Twitter at
JHW Reporter.
You can follow Rob on Twitter at
Rob Flores Media, and don't forget the R2 CMs for Ethan.
Yeah, former 24/7 champion, because he hasn't had that title. I think he won it back on Raw, and he lost it again to Kira Tozawa, so no longer champion. Facebook.com/Beyond the Ropes is where you can find currently 146 episodes uploaded there, as well as predictions and anything else we decide to post. At RealBTR Radio on Twitter as well. And YouTube, just search up Beyond the Ropes and you'll see James's beautiful face pop up. That's, I think, one of the first videos there. Nice little thumbnail. As you mentioned earlier, there were more releases. It's becoming a monthly thing now.
And it was like super unexpected too, right? Like this one was just...
It seems like they're hitting every single division, from the office to the shows to the backstage to... It's because... So...
Well, okay, wait. Let's just because I think it was last episode, I think, didn't you say, or someone said, I heard it somewhere about like the 2K, not the 2K, that's video games, the Cruiserweight division, like the show is the show still a thing or no?
205 Live was still a thing as of last week.
Okay.
Their division was hit quite a bit.
That's what I was going to say. Was this part of it? Because I had gotten the impression just from like looking at some of the tweets of those who got endeavored or something, I thought like the whole show got like taken off. Because Bree, like, you know, we'll get into in a minute, is kind of considered a cruiserweight, no? He was on the cruiserweight show, wasn't he?
Yes and no, not a regular. He was on NXT more.
Okay.
But we'll talk about it right now. I'll just quickly go through. I mean, I have kind of this comes from Forbes.com. The timeline of these most recent releases under the Nick Khan era started April 15th of this year, the post-WrestleMania releases, which isn't too surprising. Some of the releases were surprising, but overall, the actual release decisions weren't, I guess, surprising because they happen most years after WrestleMania.
Yeah. Spring cleaning, more or less, or whatever they call it.
That's literally what it says here, spring cleaning. The releases were Mickie James, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Bo Dallas, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Wesley Blake, and Samoa Joe. Of course, Samoa Joe was recently rehired and has been on NXT programming. We'll talk more about him in a little bit. But yeah, so that was in April 15th. Shortly after, April 23rd, it was the trash bag gate incident with Mickie James, which led to the release of one former head of talent relations, Mark Carano, who had been there for a number of years. Of course, he was replaced by John Laurinaitis earlier this year, I believe. He came back to that position. May 20th, 2021, so just about a month later, NXT stars were released. This was led by the Velveteen Dream, of course, behind some controversy last year with some allegations on him. We, of course, talked about his situation on the show in depth. Other talent released included Vanessa Bourne, Ezra Judge, Kavita Devi, Alexander Wolf, and Skylar Story. Some of whom we have not seen or heard of really on NXT or anywhere. So after that, May 27th, WWE releases no less than 60 front office workers. I don't know if we really talked about this. We might have mentioned some releases of, certain departments getting cut, but apparently 60 releases. So this led to, and this was basically an effort to merge the television and digital departments. The downsizing, again, cut 60 front office workers, combined WWE television department, advanced media, and WWE studios to create WWE Media, led by longtime executive producer Kevin Dunn. So, yeah, exactly. Rambling Rabbit. There we go.
Wait, what was that? Am I just now putting two and two together on that?
Yes, I think the gag is that's
okay.
Because
I know there was Puppet Vince and all that too, right? And Husky Harris, Husky Pig, I'm guessing, or whatever. But
yeah, so there's some backstory to a lot of these characters, I guess. Rambling Rabbit, I think, is a joke on that, as a play on that.
Okay.
Kevin Dunn. So let's see here.
I'm just now realizing this.
Yeah, break news here for James. On June 2nd, of course, the was the most recent, but hopefully last releases. These were the major names: Braun Strowman, Lana, Murphy, Ruby Riott, Santana Garrett, and Aleister Black, who even appeared on a main event segment the week prior, which was insane. That happened. Then June 25th, Kenise Mobley was released. She was a writer. This one I'm okay with, because the reason behind her release kind of justified, honestly.
Well, talk about it for a minute. She went on a podcast and went ahead.
This is apparently a non-financial release. Newly hired WWE writer Kenise Mobley was reportedly fired after her release, or after her appearance on the Asian Not Asian podcast. This Dave Meltzer reported that Mobley was under the gun for speaking publicly about subjects that WWE did not want her to speak. It was more of an internal concern, apparently. So I listened to Jim Cornette's podcast about it, and I found out some more details. Basically, she knew nothing about wrestling. Apparently, on the podcast, she had said that she wasn't familiar with the WWE champion, Bobby Lashley. I think she
got the name wrong.
She got his name. She was like Lashley or something like that. Yeah, she got his name wrong. I forgot what was the other name she called him. But mentioned, she was a comedian, stand-up comedian / writer. So, and that she'd basically been working. This was her highest paying job. So, of course, she took it. So basically, someone who knew nothing about wrestling prior to taking the job, which kind of goes to show that WWE is not really hiring people that know what they're doing. Really.
But that's also not uncommon either, because they've been doing that for some time. They'll hire SNL writers. Freddie Prinze was on there. There's some other comedian that.
I think he was much more respectful about the product, though. There's a certain extent you got to know something.
Well, because Freddie Prinze was a fan. Yeah, don't get me wrong. But I don't think they were all fans. It's not totally surprising.
Right. But at least you would think doing some research. Some research ahead of time at least once you get your job, at least start learning.
Don't admit it publicly, right?
Don't go on a podcast days later after getting hired. I don't know when she got hired, but I know it was recent. So
she hadn't even really gotten started yet, I think.
I think that was the thing. I don't think she even started working. So that's the thing. So, as quickly as she came in, she's officially out of the wrestling business, just like that. But anyways, getting back on the subject of wrestlers that did not deserve, or people that did not deserve to get released, the latest cuts come from June 25th, Friday, this past Friday, as we're talking, as we're recording this. WWE released Fandango, Tyler Breeze, Killian Dane, Austin Gray, Arya Davari, Tony Nese, the Bollywood Boys, Sunil and Samir Singh, Marina Shafir, Arturo Rujas, Kurt Stallion, and Everrise, Scott Parker, and Shane Matthews. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with this.
Right.
They cut two of my guys right there. They cut Fandango and Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, my biggest concern right off the jump, before you start your rant here, where are we going with the up, down, down in the GM show and all that? What?
So Austin Creed, Xavier Woods,
Yes.
I think made a post about it saying that they're going to continue. I'm not directly saying, but that they are looking to continue to do some stuff together still on up, down, down. I know Jessamine Duke was recently released. I don't even think it was mentioned here. But I think
she was
over to the digital department. I think possibly to where
you're saying they moved. You're saying they moved her to the digital department.
I think she was hired under there, so
Okay.
she still appears on up, down, down.
Right.
Because she's a part of the BRE or the BRE team with like Shayna and Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
I think they're on a lot of stables. So I believe she's still involved with that. I think with Tyler Breeze, even though up, down, down is technically owned by WWE, not Austin Creed, Xavier Woods, they may still be allowed to at least feature him. I don't know. At least until he goes into another company. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work.
I mean, if he goes to AEW, then it's no.
I know he's already started on Twitch. Actually, when you were going on Twitch earlier today, he was on his Twitch, the Sweets, which he shares with formerly known Ty Dillinger, Sean Spears on AEW. So,
okay.
Yeah,
they have a Twitch channel together.
Yes, and they have a wrestling school together, Flatbacks in Florida. They've had one for a couple of years. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not happy. Nick Khan he's gone too far. I'm sick of it. I'm waiting for him to be future endeavored. I heard he recently bought an $8 million mansion home in Los Angeles.
In LA, that's right.
How dare he? I want to go harder, but I think I've calmed down since the last time.
Yeah, because this news came out like the
Friday.
day after the show, after we recorded, right? Like literally the next day, because it's felt like a long time since you've been.
It's been about 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
I've calmed down a little bit. I'm still upset. Still very disappointing. I would say I would buy my Breezango merch, but I think I already have everything that they have on shop, so no need to go through that. But let's quickly talk about some of these releases. Of course, Breezango being perhaps the biggest ones. Obviously, this is an NXT/205 Live release. I guess they were just last year NXT Tag Team Champions. After both being in the company for several years, Fandango was signed in 2006. So he was 14.
He's been there like over 10 years, right? I saw like.
Of course, his biggest stint was probably when he came out to main roster, debuted against Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 29. And then kind of, his dance move and his song got him over for a while. Tyler Breeze started out. I believe he was signed in 2010, so he'd been there about 10 years, 11 years as well, under the FCW banner. He was actually the FCW Tag Team Champions. Say with me, I acknowledge our tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
That's so random. I do remember seeing or hearing something about that. Yes, Roman Reigns. Whatever. That's LA name.
I know.
But,
can you acknowledge Roman Reigns as your tribal chief today, James?
We'll talk about it later.
Okay. But yeah, they were tag team champions.
That's so random. Like,
this was before the Shield. This was obviously
no, I know, but
stuff.
still.
I believe Austin Creed and Xavier Woods and Tyler Breeze were actually a tag team at that time, but they ended up having Roman slide in there and win the titles with Breeze for the FCW division before he became NXT. Of course, when NXT came around, he was one of the original faces of the official developmental brand, not the game show NXT, but the developmental version. And he became one of my favorite wrestlers right away. Got that for sure. Got that cell phone case because he was, walking around with that selfie stick. For me, the highlight was seeing him at NXT San Jose at San Jose State University. It was WrestleMania 31 weekend. This was like the first takeover, unofficial takeover, because it wasn't filmed. I believe the match was released because I think it's on like NXT's Greatest Matches or something, a DVD. But the actual show, it was kind of like a house show for NXT that happened like at 11 o'clock at night. That went into like 3 in the morning. It was great. But it kicked off with Hideo Itami, now known as Kenta, of course, versus Tyler Breeze. And that was the first time Hideo Itami hit the GTS in front of a WWE crowd. Of course, he was the creator of the Go to Sleep before obviously CM Punk popularized it here in the States. So that was a big deal. But anyways, they went on to become the Fashion Police in WWE with those great segments, the Fashion Files. Great, they almost became SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Didn't pull the trigger, unfortunately. They had a great match with the Usos at Backlash, I believe, where Tyler Breeze kept switching costumes. It was a great comedy match.
I do remember that.
But then for a while, they just weren't on TV anymore. Then they showed back up in NXT and had some new life on them. Won those NXT tag team titles. Fortunately, didn't have them long. And after that, they just kind of, basically fell. Their last appearance was a couple of weeks ago. They actually defeated Imperium, but they were attacked right after the match. And unfortunately, that would be the last time we would still see them. No, they were just known as Breezangle, no longer Fashion Police in NXT, Rob. But that's kind of Breezangle in a nutshell. They had jobs for years. Hopefully, we see Breeze on Up, Up, Down, Down. I was actually watching their Uno because they've been doing Uno for the last year or so. I haven't watched like the last 40 weeks, so I'm catching up on that now.
The last 40 weeks.
I'm on episode 21. I think they have like 60 at least.
Of just straight Uno.
It's Uno. It's our favorites, of course, Austin Creed, Xavier Woods, Cesaro, that bum.
Oh my God.
That Tyler Breeze, of course, Prince Pretty, and of course, Adam Cole, Baby.
Right, he's on there too.
So they're known as the Party, as their little stable is. But when we return, we'll talk more about these releases, talk a little bit Money in the Bank preview, talk a little bit of the Great American Bash, which is happening this week. And we'll talk anything else we want to discuss, including potentially Vince McMahon having some fun. All that and more, right?
Which is very concerning.
I'm Beyond the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM, KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 149 of Beyond the Ropes. Of course, I'm your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst James Williams and producer Rob Flores. Talking about the recent releases, I mean, unfortunately, it's happened more often than not this year already. Let's continue. We already talked about Breezango. Hoping to see them doing something very soon, obviously.
Yeah.
Killian Dane. That's a bit surprising. He is, of course, married to Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
So that's a surprising thing. That was another thing that kind of got me mad. I kind of let it go. Apparently, so I don't know where I saw this, but I saw it somewhere. Nick Khan didn't really care who people were married to, because usually, they're going to releases. They might consider, about couples and all that stuff. Apparently, he didn't care. about who was getting released. There were a couple of relationships that, I mean, you were not going to see on TV anymore. Killian Dane obviously being one of them, as Nikki Cross is a regular on Monday Night Raw, going through a bit of a character change there.
Mm-hmm.
And another one was Marina Shafir, who we just saw a couple months ago with Ravishing Roger Strong, of course, now the centerpiece of the Diamond Mine. But she was released as well. The other, the second.
Is it interesting? Is it interesting that those, the relationships they get, one of them gets released, and then the significant other gets a push? Mm-hmm.
Weird, because you're right, Roderick Strong.
And I feel like that's been a thing before, even if you kind of look at what maybe the Lana Rusev thing, I guess you can say.
I guess Lana Rusev too, but then they dumped her a couple months back too,
which I knew was coming. I mean, you knew that was coming.
I mean, honestly, it's, no offense to Lana, but I mean, she's not a focal point there.
But I feel like that's been a thing, though. Definitely been.
I guess so. Yeah, if you want to keep at least the employed one happy, you want to keep them around, you kind of at least make them a centerpiece of something. Again, as you mentioned, Nikki Cross going through a character change, getting a bit of a push there, and then of course Roderick Strong being the centerpiece of Diamond Mine, looking, no pun intended, strong in that in that picture there. Some more releases. Basically at least half of the 205 Live division or whatever is left of it. The Bollywood boys, Sunil and Samir Singh, Arya Davari, Tony Nese, and August Gray, who we really never saw much of. I think he was maybe on one episode of NXT a few months ago, but he was on 205 Live. Again, the Bollywood boys were Ginger's henchmen at one point when he was WWE champion. And then kind of went back to being the Bollywood boys in 205 Live. Kurt Stallion was another guy who I believe both Kurt Stallion and August Gray were recently signed like last year. So that's kind of a thing. That's kind of interesting. I know they at least showed Kurt Stallion on NXT a couple of times to try to highlight him. It looked like they were potentially going to make him into something. But obviously that's no longer the case. Arturo Rujas, is kind of an MMA kind of Brazilian fighter. I believe he's in a relationship with Ty Conti over in AEW, who was an NXT superstar as of last year, and then sure that got released. But he's finished. I believe he was injured. Arya Davari and Tony Nese, 205 Live originals. They're gone. Obviously, Arya Davari's older brother Sean Davari had a WWE run as well. And then Everrise, they had their own YouTube show. I think they had a pre-show for the NXT shows. They were pretty entertaining in terms of in the ring. They were like whatever, but they were they were. They weren't anything like crazy.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I've never heard of them, to be honest. So
they've been on NXT a few times. Actually, as recent as maybe last week or the week before. So again, some of these releases kind of just surprising because they have these guys appear and then the next day they're not. I believe Killian Dane said he received a phone call while he was at the Performance Center training.
Huh?
Yeah, so that's not awkward at all. Oh, yeah. Hello. Yeah. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, wonderful. I'm in your building right now.
Yeah, right.
What do I do now? Like, go home? Like,
no trash bag needed.
No, you just pick up your stuff on the way out.
Pick up your. Well, I would say pick up your stuff. It's in a bag by the door.
There's a trash bag over there. You go ahead.
Yeah, that's wild. Imagine.
So yeah, I mean, it's almost this Forbes article written by Alfred Konua, basically capturing the timeline here. Basically says it's hard to imagine WWE is anywhere near finished with its aggressive cost-cutting measures. Of course, the end goal here is to make as much money as possible. Whether or not they're selling, I mean, I haven't heard any more buzz about potential selling But if anything, I mean, if anything gives you a hint that they're going to sell again or sell the company, it's Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
He went to a Dave Chappelle show. He went to a. Oh,
I saw it and I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, Vince is he's letting his hair down. He's having fun. He's probably laughing. I just couldn't believe it.
Absolutely.
No, he didn't grow his hair out, Rob. I'm what metaphorically speak. I don't know. I'm just saying, like Vince having any sort of time off to be able to go to a comedy show is unreal.
He took a picture with, I forget his name.
With what's his name? Chappelle's buddy that everyone would know.
Here it is. Donnell Rawlings.
Yeah, I'll say is it Rollins or something.
He posted it on his Instagram page saying no caption needed, legend. Of course, he got a picture with the smiling Vince McMahon there. Now, wearing a t-shirt and some jeans. Look at him. Very, very
and I was going to say that Vince probably thinks that is Dave Chappelle.
Sir, come on now. Put some respect on Vince's name. He's a cultured individual.
Apparently so. I
remember the do-rag days when he was ECW champion. Come on now.
No, I remember. I remember. I remember.
The greatest time in Vince's era there.
I'm sure.
Come on now. All right. Well, moving on from that. Let's talk. I mean, I don't know let's talk about our tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Shall we? Let's talk about some SmackDown. The show kicked off. The post Hell in a Cell show kicked off with Roman Reigns and Jimmy. Of course, main event Jey Uso continues to go missing. Nowhere to be found. He took his ball, went home.
Just had enough of the shenanigans.
I don't know what shenanigans. He should be grateful that.
Imagine.
I'm looking for a SmackDown. I guess I don't have a SmackDown filter.
Nope.
Could have sworn I had one. Anyways, but talking about basically Jimmy needs to prove himself. So he wants to be the right-hand man now. I'm glad Jimmy's finally coming to the right side of history. But anyways, he had a great match with Dolph Ziggler, ended up picking up the victory there, proving maybe a little bit that he could be main event Jimmy Uso someday. Not yet, but someday. Instead of just being Naomi's husband. So, of course, the first match on the card was actually Bayley and Seth Rollins, perhaps the most dominant duo in history, taking on that bum Cesaro and that paper champion Bianca Belair.
Jesus,
what was that face, James?
Why are you taking shots at Bianca Belair? What did she do?
I think she's very talented, but she couldn't beat Bayley fair and square. Bayley proved that this past SmackDown when she actually pinned Belair, hitting that Rose Plant to get the victory there.
So you mean to tell me that you're not going to be getting the new Bianca Belair shirt?
There's a new one?
I believe there is.
Well, probably not, but I will be getting another new shirt. We'll talk about of which superstar in a little bit. Bianca does have a lot of cool shirts. She has a few that I like, but don't need another cheap t-shirt.
Did you just say cheap t-shirt?
Probably. I don't know. I don't even know. I didn't pay attention there. But anyways.
We're taking shots and doesn't even know he's taking shots anymore.
We're a well-oiled machine here. I'm taking all my aggression out.
Yeah, I can tell.
Anyways. Rollins then went to WWE management, Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, saying he's ready to move up. He wants that Universal Championship. So, I wonder what that's going to lead to. Next up, we had Big E, a.k.a. 1/3 of the greatest tag team in WWE history. Did you see this, James?
I think I'd heard about it. I saw a tweet from Big E about Kofi and Xavier. I didn't know at the time that they were, but it sounds like they were. I know they were like kind of announcing what was it, the top 10 today or something. Do you have that list at all?
I don't, unfortunately.
We'll get the list during the break and we'll come back with that.
We'll circle around, but they have been doing the top 50 tag teams over the last month and a half.
I have to watch that. I knew it was kind of a thing, but have you been watching that at all?
I have not. It was ironically hosted by Brizango, who we're no longer there. So, but Breeze did leave a nice little comment saying, he was honored to be the one to have, announced that, his buddies New Day were the greatest tag team. So, spoiler alert, we kind of gave away the top guy, but the top team. But anyways, we'll get the list out and everything. So, but then Big E faced against Apollo in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Big E ended up picking up the victory. So he was the first official entrant into the Money in the Bank ladder match. We'll talk more Money in the Bank in a little bit.
Okay, wait, question. Who's the Intercontinental Champion? Is it not Apollo?
It's Apollo. He pinned the IC champion. So perhaps another opportunity, perhaps not. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of continues that feud again, I guess.
Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens in a last man standing match happening as we're recording this Friday. Hasn't happened yet. It will happen. It's a Money in the Bank qualifying match though. So interesting. I know it's last man standing. I feel like they're having some of these matches for a reason, and we'll talk about it in a little bit because there's perhaps a big shakeup coming. We'll talk about that. What else do we have for SmackDown? No, I mean, we basically had our main event, which was Roman Reigns. Well, I'm sorry, Carmella actually also was announced for the SmackDown participants in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Carmella was announced?
Yes.
That's right. They're not having matches, are they?
They don't really have anyone on the SmackDown side to really have matches for qualifying. So, but Liv Morgan also threw her name in there, saying she wanted an opportunity, and she actually beat Carmella. So she could be, thrown in there as well, potentially. But anyways, Roman Reigns gave a state, or was attempting to give a state of the Universal Championship address before he was so rudely interrupted by the WWE Hall of Fame, where they were turning the newly dubbed Iconoclast Edge.
What?
The Iconoclast.
What does that mean?
It means, hold on, I gotta put up a dictionary because I forgot what that means. But basically, it says so on his new T-shirt that I was mentioning that I may have to get. It's a very.
Didn't you just call him a bum?
I didn't call him a bum. That was Cesaro. I called him a bum.
You just called him everything short of being a bum, though.
No, I didn't. Basically, an iconoclast means a person who attacks cherished beliefs or institutions.
Okay.
Basically, he's trying to tear down the institution that is the tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I think that applies.
So he basically came out. He basically sneak attacked Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns didn't expect him.
You saw him coming down the ramp.
It was basically he was unprepared. He was not ready for a match. I don't know. But anyways, he got hit with a spear. He was going to go for a concerto. Roman escaped. Edge will not be facing Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at Money in the Bank. It has been confirmed. They are really stacking this show because it will be the first pay-per-view with fans in attendance since WrestleMania. So that should be good. So that was kind of SmackDown in a nutshell.
Kind of interesting, though, that they're going with that Edge Roman match at Money in the Bank still, even though it's the first one fans back. But when you have SummerSlam not too far away, makes you wonder why they're not going with that there. And that doesn't mean they still might not, but
I think they have other plans. We'll talk about it maybe off air. I don't know if I want to share it here, but it should be a good show nonetheless. I think they want to stack Money in the Bank. It's the first pay-per-view back. They want to stack it. Money in the Bank's kind of been a big show over the last few years.
I can agree with that.
So you want to give them some big matches there. All right, so we're down to 2 minutes here. Quickly, we'll get into Monday Night Raw. Some highlights, perhaps Riddle becoming Randy Orton. Go ahead, James.
Real quick, as we're kind of just wasting the 2 minutes here, not wasting, but filling the 2 minutes. Yeah, that's what we're doing. I believe it was Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch all of a sudden getting married.
That's right. I remembered that when I mentioned them, and I completely forgot. Thank you for bringing that up. Of course, the drip god himself, and of course the man Becky Lynch, got married. Just a few days ago. Congratulations to them. Of course, they have a daughter, Ro, I believe her name is. Congrats to them. Hopefully, maybe we'll be seeing Becky Lynch very soon. I don't know. We got some big shows coming up, so maybe we'll see that very soon. Basically, so when we return, we'll talk a little bit Money at Raw. We'll talk a little bit NXT. Quick Money in the Bank preview and quick Great American Bash preview. But yeah, I will be saying Riddle has become Randy Orton. That's kind of the story that came out of Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was pretty good overall. Better than a lot of the shows they've been doing. In months, and hopefully they'll be getting a shakeup very soon, including one potentially with another former NXT champion now. Maybe we'll see that former champion appear on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. I don't know. Spoiler alert there, but we'll talk about that, all that, and more right here on Beyond the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com. and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 149 of Beyond the Ropes. I'm your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst James Williams and producer Rob Flores. Let's talk a little bit Monday Night Raw. James, you have some numbers for us?
Yeah, I got the Raw number right here, right before we start talking about the episode, of course. 157, well, 1.57 million. I don't know if I said that right.
1.57 million.
1.5 million.
1.5. Anyway,
we were math majors in college now. Hold on now.
Hold on now. We weren't. It went down. But hopefully with the touring commencing in a couple of weeks, they'll go back up. Anyways, the story here was Randy Orton no-showed, of course, Monday Night Raw, because, he's Randy Orton. He does kind of what he wants.
Did he legit no-show?
I'm sure he had a week off or something. I think in his contract he only works certain days. But anyways, he was not on Monday Night Raw. He was supposed to compete in this second chance triple threat match between Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, and him. So they had a battle royal in the beginning of the show to kind of replace him. It ended up being Riddle to take his place. He made this fake letter from Randy Orton to, that said basically Riddle would replace him in the triple threat match. But then they just said, look, you can have the spot for Randy if, you win the battle royal. He did win the battle royal. And fun match. Riddle kind of went into Randy mode, as we would see later on in the show as well, using some of Randy's moves. And I think after the battle royal, he even did his pose, and the pyro came down too. So it was interesting. He became Randy Orton there. 2 Money in the Bank competitors already in. John Morrison and Ricochet went on one-on-one. Phenomenal match. These two had chemistry back in Lucha Underground. When there was Prince Puma and Johnny Mundo. This match ended in a double countout because of the huge springboard crossbody from Ricochet up to the barricade where Morrison was sitting, taking them both out. But it was a fun match. Hopefully we'll see a rematch very soon. Nice little promo between Kofi Kingston and MVP. Getting Xavier Woods back on the next episode, taking on Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley, he's not a fighting champion like our tribal chief is, James. He's kind of lazy. He didn't show up this week, so
sure, he's been on every pay-per-view. My dad, I was literally eating dinner with my dad. We were both in the kitchen, right? And my dad says, they sure are featuring Bobby Lashley quite a bit, aren't they? And said, yeah, they kind of are. But he's not on SmackDown. It just looks that way, though, because Roman Reigns doesn't even perform on the pay-per-view. But when you have a pay-per-view where Bobby Lashley's headlining it in the Hell in a Cell, you have him come the next night on Monday, be in another Hell in a Cell, and then you see him, even when he wasn't on TV, my dad still thought he was on just because they do promos. You got MVP. He's still well represented.
Lazy.
I'm just telling you.
I don't know. All right. So basically, Kofi dropped MVP with the Trouble in Paradise. Kofi's winning that title back at Money in the Bank. We're going to see Kofi Mania 2.0, hopefully.
I hope so, but I don't think so.
You're so negative, James. You're so negative.
I mean, I'm all for it. I just don't think it's going to happen.
All right.
But I am glad that Kofi's getting a chance.
He should. He's a guy. He's a main event guy. And apparently 1/3 of the greatest tag team in WWE history. So
that's the word.
There we go. I don't know what else we got here. I mean, we got a little bit Charlotte and Rhea. I'm kind of over this storyline, honestly. They've been doing this for a couple months. They're going to have their rematch at Money in the Bank. Hopefully it's the last match they have. Not that they have bad chemistry or anything. Their match at last year's WrestleMania was phenomenal. When, they didn't have a crowd to perform in front of. But honestly, it's just the story isn't very well written.
And that's the thing, though. Their whole feud has been in front of no crowd, huh?
Basically.
Because the WrestleMania was in front of no crowd. Well,
and this year it was Asuka and Rhea. Charlotte wasn't even involved until the next night when there was no crowd again. So,
right.
Basically it was no crowd. So we'll see how the crowd thinks about this feud at Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll just cut into kind of the main event, which was a triple threat between Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, and Riddle. Don't hurt yourself there, James.
Yeah,
taking bumps over here. More bumps than Lashley has in the last week.
Imagine.
All right. So, McIntyre. This was a long match, and it looked at one point Riddle was going to win because they even took him out of the match, and then he came back. Kind of doing the big comeback story for Orton to be involved in Money in the Bank. That didn't happen, however, as McIntyre hit that Claymore on Riddle to get the victory and qualify for Money in the Bank. He's totally winning Money in the Bank, right?
I don't know, and he shouldn't, though, because...
But he totally is.
You made the whole stipulation on how he's not going to get a title shot again, and then you're going to do this stunt. It was great. It was great when he wasn't in the match, when he lost, and that was going to be it. But now here he is.
We'll see what happens. We'll give our Money in the Bank predictions either next episode or on social media. Let's talk some NXT, shall we?
Yeah.
My favorite show of the week.
Okay. Some good stuff. I already know why it was your favorite.
Of course. There we go. Got some NXT there. The show kicked off with a phenomenal 3-team match in the women's division. It was Io Shirai, Zoe Stark taking on Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon, taking on the NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. The winners would go on to face the champions Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell at next week's Great American Bash event. Again, best women's division on the planet. The team of Zoe Stark and Io Shirai ended up picking up the victory with a nice moonsault from Shirai on Dakota Kai. Let's talk about what's going to happen at the Great American Bash. Was one. Say it with me, James. Come on. Throw it up. Oh, hold on. You know what? Hold on. Let me before we go to that. Hold on. Give me a minute here.
I changed my mind.
There it is. Oh, okay, come on. Say it with me. 1, 2, 3.
Cameron Bryant.
Yeah, you didn't do it right. Come on, say it with me. L.A. Knight. There we go. Come on. Look at that. The $1 million megastar right here, right next to me.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase and that guy.
No, Ted DiBiase is $1 million band. The $1 million megastar is right here, right there.
No.
He's a $1 million champion. He officially challenged Cameron Grimes, who wanted the rematch under one condition.
Mm-hmm.
If Cameron Grimes loses, that bum is going to be doing what he should be doing, and that's being a butler for LA Knight.
They're gonna make Cameron Grimes a Virgil.
That's right. Look at that. I didn't even think about that, but that's you're right. A Virgil, I honestly, I think that's an offense at Virgil. I don't know why you would compare Cameron
Oh,
Grimes.
stop it! You stop right now, sir. You stop.
Look at him.
Virgil's in his own universe. You want to talk about the WWE universe? Virgil's on his own universe.
The Virgiverse.
Something.
But anyways, we're gonna be getting LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes. We gotta talk a little bit some predictions here. We'll talk about it after this.
I'm telling you right now, prediction: Cameron Grimes.
Hold off. You gotta save it. All right. Can't be wasting it away like that.
Fine.
All right. Back to NXT. Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was just all over the place this week as well. Kyle O'Reilly came out, called out Adam Cole. They cut a little back and forth, but before they even got to do that, Samoa Joe came out to ensure nothing would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I'm a little disappointed. I gave him one shot the first week. I told him he gets one. And what does he do? Kyle O'Reilly put his hands on Adam Cole, puts him in a heel hook submission, and Samoa Joe does nothing after Adam Cole is asking for help.
No.
Samoa Joe
First
leaves
of all,
the ring and then he waits, and then sends security to break him up.
No. You hear me. Listen, I have it in my notes right here. So first of all, I think this is probably setting up to maybe an Adam Cole Samoa Joe match at some point, maybe. But Samoa Joe is playing it down the middle. Didn't pick any sides because if he would have taken Adam Cole's side, I mean, what is he supposed to do? Plus, Adam Cole provoked him again. He put his hands on Samoa Joe.
No, he did not.
He was begging for it. He was grabbing his pant leg.
But that wasn't provoking him. That's
still provoking him. He's lucky. He is lucky Samoa Joe didn't stomp a mud hole in him right there while he was in that submission. He's lucky.
Samoa Joe is the lucky one. He says
no. He was provoked.
I'm gonna tweet at Khan myself and ask him to release him again.
Tweet him, and you know what he's gonna say? You're out of here.
He's gonna say he didn't release me.
He's gonna release you, and you're gonna say, "Sir, I'm not even on your show." He said, "You're hired. Now you're fired."
All right, that's something Vince would do probably.
I mean, you can still put on your resume that you work for WWE, but
true. I like that comedy writer. I would have worked.
Go in and out. Get at least 1,000 out of it or something.
Jeez, there you go. All right, so that happened, and then Johnny Gargano, he and Karrion Kross got into it, and then later on in the night, as Kross was leaving, he attacked Kross again, and Kross put him to sleep, and we were gonna witness a live murder, James.
I saw that, but security got in on that one, didn't they? And they stopped him. Security's been putting in work in this episode, apparently.
Well, security didn't stop him. It was Samoa Joe who actually literally grabbed Johnny Gargano by the t-shirt, moving him out of the way. And then
was this after he kicked Kross's face in?
Yes, this was after. This is like at the very end. Samoa Joe will save people, but he can't save Adam Cole. What was that all about?
Because Joe has had both Cole and what's his name Kross in his face.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, I'm liking this Johnny Gargano. He's still kind of sneaky heel, but he's obviously the favorite here with the crowd chanting him. This match was not announced for the Great American Bash. I don't know if it will, and perhaps they're waiting for a takeover.
What, Kross and Gargano?
Yeah, hasn't been announced.
I thought it was official.
No, it's not. It's not official. So we're gonna have to wait and see.
Okay.
What happens there? Sending a quick I don't want to say condolences, but a quick you're in our thoughts, Mercedes, because she got knocked out at the end of the match. She looked pretty bad.
I call that my moment of the night. She got her face kicked in, and I don't even think she wasn't pinned, right? She got knocked
Yeah,
out.
she kind of moved her shoulder up, kicking out, but the ref immediately stopped the match.
Yeah, she was down bad.
She was not good. Of course, Mercedes Martinez and Jake Atlas teamed up against the team of Boa and Zia Lee. And of course, at the end of that match, she got that roundhouse kick. And I mean, she just felt like a bag of potatoes, honestly.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty. Hopefully, she's okay. Good for the referee for stopping the match, even though Mercedes, obviously out of instinct, kicking out, or at least moving her arm in that direction. But we'll see what happens there. Hopefully, she's all good. In the main event, we got
She might be picking her head up off the floor still. She might be looking for it around the ring.
maybe
She got it kicked off pretty hard.
in her main event. This was kind of a surprise because I found out about this after because I wasn't watching live. We had a North American title match. It wasn't announced prior. It was announced during the show as there was a little face-off between Hit Row, Isaiah Scott, and the NXT North American champion, Bronson Reed. Fun match here, but it was won Swerve Scott, who ended up picking up the victory, defeating Bronson Reed for that NXT North American Championship. Bronson Reed is totally getting moved up to Raw or SmackDown in the coming weeks. That's a given.
But it's kind of random. And
there's no reason he would lose a title.
No, I know. That's what I agree with you. I agree with you.
So I don't know if we talked about it on here. There were reports that both Karrion Kross and Bronson Reed had a match. I believe it was actually a main event. They actually aired it on main event.
Did they really?
But yeah, it was supposed to be like a match, a dark match that I guess they ended up releasing on main event to I guess see, potentially if they wanted to move them up to main roster.
Yeah, because I heard Cross was like at a SmackDown taping or something.
Both were, and I think they fought each other. And it looks like at least Reed is getting that move because they immediately had him drop the title. And we could be seeing him, I would assume, potentially when fans get back in the next couple of weeks. He might get his rematch next week at Great American Bash or maybe the week after. And then it'll be, see ya. Just getting shipped to Raw or SmackDown.
Well, I mean, when you think about, you lose a big guy like Braun Strowman being out, being future endeavored, whatnot. You need another big guy in that spot, and who bigger of a guy than Bronson Reed to fill that role?
Yeah, a couple of releases for sure. You need some fresh faces, especially you're going to keep continuing to release people. You need to start to fill up that roster again. Get some fresh faces, get some, in front of crowds. You talk about Damian Priest, Rob is in the chat here. He was involved in that battle royal. Right now they don't have anything for him, but hopefully again, when crowds come back, maybe we'll get to see something from him. We'll get some new pushes and stuff. Maybe even a draft. That's right. Let's talk about it a little bit. Well, quickly, before I forget, Roderick Strong picked up a victory, of course, not surprisingly. Diamond Mine. I'm all in on Diamond Mine, James.
All right.
I want to let you know that there. So
I'm not surprised.
Right there. There are my boys right there. There we go. You haven't used that one in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways.
I thought maybe you would have deleted that one off the computer as soon as you kind of saw the end happen and unfold before your eyes there of the Undisputed Era, and maybe you just hit that sad delete button at the end of that show. But here we are. We still got it.
Let's just get some quick predictions on the Great American Bash. NXT Tag Team titles. MSK will defend against Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah.
What do we have here?
I'll go with Ciampa and Thatcher.
I agree. I think Ciampa and Thatcher are picking up those titles.
Mm-hmm.
We have a title change. I think that's going to be it right there. Rob, any predictions there for that one?
Who are the champs again?
MSK.
They have retained probably.
Okay, you got retaining. All right, for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles, we got Io Shirai and Zoe Stark challenging the champions, The Way, which consists of Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. James, who do you have here?
I think Hartwell and Candice will hold the title still.
Yeah, I think this may lead to a Stark Io. I don't know about
You think so?
Yeah, maybe a little match there.
Okay.
Rob,
Title change.
you want to see new tag team champions? Okay, that's a possibility. We've also got, who else do we got here? Adam Cole. Well, that's the main event. Maybe we'll save that one. Now we can mention now Adam Cole, baby, versus Kyle O'Reilly.
O'Reilly, maybe.
I think he's gonna pick up 2 in a row.
Yeah, Cole's kind of a bum though, to be honest. So.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you saw him tapping out.
It was not a match.
Doesn't matter. He's
I
begging
think
for
there was
help.
a bug. There was a bug in the ring. Clearly, Rob.
Is this for gold?
No, just a 1-on-1 match.
Okay, then in that case, yeah, they're gonna tie.
You got. All right. So you got Cole.
He said there was a bug in the ring.
There's a potential bug in the ring. I'm just saying. I've got Adam Cole, baby, of course, as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pull the match cards here. All right, and then LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes for that $1 million.
Cameron Grimes.
Rob.
Oh gosh, no, but it's still gonna be a retain.
Yeah, that's right. I agree. He's gonna retain, and that bum Cameron Grimes is gonna be where he belongs as a butler. All right.
It's not gonna be a Virgil.
All right, we're low on time, but quickly, we're gonna see a draft or at least some call-ups in the coming weeks. Any predictions on, what's gonna happen?
I mean, maybe you see Adam Cole go.
That's a possibility. AJ Styles isn't going anywhere.
Are they still the tag champions?
They're still tag champions.
Have they even defended the tag championship?
I think they may defend them at Money in the Bank. Maybe. They don't have a match at Money in the Bank, so we'll see. But yeah, I expect Bronson Reed to show up on Raw, SmackDown in the coming weeks. That's an easy prediction. We'll talk more episode. We'll talk Money. We'll talk Great American Bash. What will have already happened. We'll talk more Money in the Bank previews, as well as potentially the draft that's may or may not be coming, including SummerSlam. All that and more next week's episode of Beyond the Ropes. But until next time, this episode has been absolutely too sweet.